Hi guys, Razor here, and I want to bring to you my 3.20 league starter. It is going to be Sunder Chieftain. Yes, I'm playing melee while everyone else is playing spells, but this is what I'm in the mood for. And I've made this build to kind of cater for my needs, which would be to start, get through my atlas, and mapping will be my priority, not bossing, but you'll see that we get pretty good damage out of it. Okay, let's put up the tree here. So this is the POB I now did for the Sunder Chieftain. I've put in here basically leveling trees for you from the start. So got a tree starting at level 22 straight to kind of the end game level 100 or level 98 to 100, whatever you really want to do there. Here you can see we're around about 4 million at level 90. No thread of hope or anything like that. This is basically the plan, to just level and get up to this state. Say the damage is a bit less because we don't have the frenzy charges and you don't always will have the command up. So it's probably in the range of 2.5 to 3 million. I'm just going to leave that there for later settings with the boots. On the items I also have two item sets here, the league starter one. So in this one you'll see I've got a couple of options here. I saved the ones it's kind of the ones I'll go for, but at the start really, as you're leveling, the first ones you really want to get is Carnage Heart, and then you want to get Belt of the Deceiver. You can use your sash recipe on two-handed axes as you level up. Try to get a double axe as soon as you can, throw a sash recipe on it, and that's what you're going to keep doing. If you get lucky and you get a axe unique drop, by all means there's one or two leveling axes that you can look up that you can try to buy maybe for 1C, but sometimes like on day one it might be 3 or 4C, and you're not going to get that quickly. But you will get the Belt of the Deceiver for like 1 or 2C. The same with Carnage Heart very quickly, and the same with the Dudra's Damning Ring. I did a level run from Act 1 to Act 5 with Sunder leveling. So what I do is I start with Ground Slam, and I then go on to Sunder, and I drop this Curse Ring in Act 3. So you're gonna maybe get something, or you're gonna drop a barracks or something solid, but get this as soon as you can double curse, which would be probably from after Act 4. It's a huge damage increase, especially with effectiveness of curses on bossing now and doing the end act bosses. Throw 2 curses on them and they'll just absolutely melt. So let's take maybe and start them from where they were, the trees. So I'm gonna go to the level 22 tree, and then we take it from here step by step as I would level. So I will start through here and take the phys nodes and attack speed, and then I normally go for this first because I don't want to worry about accuracy, and then I go through the health nodes here. Take these 2 nodes whenever you comfortable feel like it. I will normally just jump here. I'll take the leech and the damage, and this I'll fill in whenever, and I also go for Eternal Youth early. Now Eternal Youth coupled with this physical attack damage leases life means that I basically don't have to care about mana. So what I do is I double up on life tap. I've got it in my leap slam, and I've also got it in my main attack, and together with this you don't worry about it. Even when you don't have a lot of health at the start, you'll see it dumping down as you're attacking, but because you're leeching, if you're hitting enemies, you'll just get the health back. And if you do take damage, you can literally just run 2 seconds. It works like how it would work with energy shield recharge, and you're back up at full health without having great life flask even. So this is something, whenever I level anything on this side of the tree, I basically gun for Eternal Youth, go life tap, and you're happy clappy all the way. So we get a bit of damage here, and then the axe mastery, I take the 1 rage on hit, because I try to use rage right from the start. As soon as I get in Act 2, it's flat added damage, which is the thing you need, because you always have to try to get sashes and craft the axe in every act. So what I try to do is basically every act or 2 look at my axes. I made myself on my POB filter, I made it highlight for me the axes I want to get. So I want to get like a double axe, I want to get a labyrinth, I want to get a Vol axe, I want to get maybe a Karui chopper, the good ones with good flat damage. Make them highlight so that you get them and you immediately know you can use a sash on them. I didn't put any more equipment trees in here, so I see the mana shells that, but don't worry that, I mean, at the start you're not going to use like 4 auras, so all the skills are though here. When leveling, so these are the 6 link skills. I would go Sunder first with Rage and Life Tap. At the start you'll use Ruthless because that's what you get. or you can use added fire, doesn't matter. But as soon as I have rage, I take that and I've got life tap. Then as soon as I've got a 4 link, I take pulverize. This is insane for area of effect the whole time and for the more melee damage. You don't really care about that attack speed, it doesn't matter too much, because we had two-handed build. And then when you have a 5 link, you can choose. If you feel you want to be more tanky, go for fortify, but elemental damage is just much more damage. Yeah, sorry, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I counting wrong here? So my 4 links, sorry, is going to be after rage, it's going to be pulverize and fist of war. Sorry. And then your 5th link, you choose if you have elemental damage or fortify. And then the last one for me was elemental damage with attacks, because I was already on a 5 link in T14 mapping. I respect one of my characters level 90 to test it out, so that's why I use fortify before elemental damage with attacks, but you can choose. So you're going to ask me why I don't have life tap here. Is I make the certain switch, and I do it normally around either Merc or Cruel Lab. Then I'll stop using it as soon as I've got this node here. So when I travel to here where I've got mana leech, then I drop the life tap on my main attack, but I still keep it on my leap stand. Then after the level 22, we'll go up to normal lab. So at normal lab, I'll start moving down here to this node, which is quite important because this basically ignores all penalties to armor. So now you can use an armor, and you might think that's strange, but I don't really put an armor on until sometimes Act 5. But at this point, when you've got this node, which is going to be in Act 3, then you can put your armor on, and maybe if you drop a 4 link, you just smack it on immediately and don't have to worry about the movement speed penalty. I also, just before the lab, I go up and take magnetic strikes as well. I don't take avatar of fire yet, because of this leech. It only affects physical damage. And then as soon as you finish the lab, you take the first Nganamu's flame advance, which will then convert 50% of your physical damage to fire, and every 10 seconds you gain 100% of physical damage as extra fire. So basically half the time you attack, you have double damage. So this is better than you think, because you run around and you kind of are slam skill. You jumping, and you slam in that 2-second window, then you jump around, get the next back, and if you chain it right, you almost have it up. You have it up half the map the whole time, so it's actually pretty good. And then, sorry, that's my phone ringing. I'm just gonna put it on silent in case. After you did that normal lab, the first point you take then avatar of fire, so that you then have 100% converted to fire. The reason you want to do that immediately is you then want to swap from, if you use the vulnerability curse while leveling, you want to swap to flammability. So it's very ineffective to use either physical vulnerability or flammability if you don't convert everything, because then only the curse only affects half your damage. So as soon as you do that, then you can go to flammability, and as soon as you have your Dude Race damning ring, you can use elemental weakness as well. Then at Cruel Lab, we will start specking out of this node. I also spec out of this node as soon as I have this one. So I'll go through here and take the leech so that I can drop the life tap, and then I have the 4 link with Fist of War as well. Then we can drop that one. Then I move down here. These accuracy nodes, take it as soon as you see you need accuracy. I continually level my precision, because in the endgame build you want to level 20, even 21 if you want, because we use the crit on the gem as well. So you just keep on leveling precision. Just to tell you, the auras I use at that time would be Precision, Herald of Ash, and Herald of Purity. I don't use Arctic Armor, Defiance, Banner while leveling. It's not really needed. And if you want, you can get a Dream Fragments or something, or Wanderlust if you want to solve your freeze, or just on a flask. But I just use these 3. It's purely this damage, and obviously the ashes was damage and gives us clear. Let's get to that point level 20 just to say. So I go for Ancestral Protector in Act 1, and I link that with Ruthless and Chance to Bleed. And then after that, as soon as I got the colors right, and I changed to the fully fire convert, then you want to put in Combustion, and when you get Culling Strike, you can try to work that in as well. And then I swapped the Ruthless for Rage, because although your Ancestral War Chief or Protector cannot generate Rage for you, they do get the buff from the Rage you generated. So if you are on 40, 50, 60 Rage, then they get this full 72 flat damage. So it's actually a lot. You can see even in this POB there, you can see 151,000. It's pretty comparable. And as soon as I get Ancestral War Chief, I switch to that instead of Protector, because we're not a mainly attack skill build, we're a slam build. So for us, putting it down, slamming once big, it's better to have the Ancestral War Thief. Well, that's what I prefer. And as soon as you can get a Vol version, so do your Vol side areas. But you'll basically go Ancestral, Culling, Combustion, and when you have a Falling, just put Rage in there. Leveling is Life Tap and Leap Slam. And as soon as you get faster attacks in Act 2, try to 3-link it. And as soon as you can have a Falling, Endurance Charge, and Melee Stun to get some Endurance Charges. And that will work well if you can get a Worm Sign early as well, to give you that Rampage. And then one other slot is Blood and Sand. So sorry, that's the other one I also use. So it's Blood and Sand, Herald of Purity, Herald of Ash, and Precision. And with the life taps, you don't have to worry about your mana. And as soon as you get the mana leech, even if you only have 80 mana, you're only using like maybe 15 or 20 mana per shot, so you just leech it back. That's Nganamu, so that doesn't matter. So then what I also do is I respec these early nodes I took here and put it in here. So we want to get Hatchet Master, and this is great because it gives us Onslaught. So if you prefer to use Onslaught gems, then you can drop it at that stage. Just take a little life here, and the Call to Arms I take also as soon as I come down here. I just took this actually before I went here, just to make me be able to use Battle Mage's Cry on my left click, which lets it just activate by itself. So what I do is in Act 2 I pick up Wave of Conviction, and I think it's Act 4 you pick up Flammability and a Mental Weakness. So as soon as you convert it to fire, then you can manually cast Wave of Conviction. But as soon as you have Battle Mage's Cry, when you cast it, then every time when you attack, it will cast a linked spell. So this makes it very comfortable. I've put Battle Mage's Cry on my left click right from when I can up to Endgame, and that's how I'll keep it. And later I might even 5-link it with Molten Shell, but talk about that later. So as you're attacking, it will automatically cast Flammability and Mental Weakness and Wave of Conviction on the enemy. So it will give you exposure and the double curse, which is huge amount of damage. Then we will move through the health nodes here, and we will take all these axe nodes, and then the next mastery we take sorry, I just swapped the masteries around, but this is 30% increased damage while on blood stance, so that's obviously a big damage boost in blood stance against single target, and then 15% increased area of effect while on sand stance. So mostly when I play I stay in sand stance, and only when I go to big single targets or bosses like that massive essence, pop it to blood stance if you want. But this area actually, with the area you get from Pulverize and the extra area you get for Fist of War, makes your clear very good. Then after the Crew Lab, I wanted to say in Crew Lab I'll just go straight over to take Hinikora's Death Fury, and Life Leech is nice, but the cover enemies in Ash is the great thing. It's like basically 20% more damage and makes him 20% slower move speed to enemies. And after the Crew Lab we go Merc Lab. In Merc Lab, let me see, I got there, where did I add, so I'm just going up here, so yeah, just take another Jewel Socket up at the top. Oh, we also took Unwavering Stance, I think we took it already between normal and cruel, yeah, so that just makes us immune to stuns, but we can't evade attacks, but that's fine, we leech. And you would think, why don't I take Iron Reflexes, because I mean there's no reason of having evasion because I can't be hit. But really in this build and the items I use, I got 400 evasion. It's not worth a point. It just isn't. I've got 6,000 armor. It's not worth it. It doesn't make a reasonable difference. Then I move up in here and I take the attack speed nodes. This is more to make my rage last longer. You'll see it gives me like 40% inherent loss of rage. It's slower. So attack speed is kind of nice on single target, just to bang down, but it gives me more rage there, and you also get more rage here. So we're up to 65 max rage. And what I do is I play with rage, but I do not use Berserk. And it is, if it's your option to use it, you can drop a link and you can DPS a boss down. I would just advise don't use it before the boss is at 50%, because normally that start them must have an 8-second penalty where you do less damage to them, so you can't burst them. So use it after that, but it feels really bad if you pop it, or you pop it too early, or the boss moves and your Berserk runs out, and then you have no rage and you do huge amount of less damage, like having 60 rage, which you'll have within like 15 seconds of entering a map. And if you go to the boss straight, you just ram him down with full rage. It's movement speed, it's attack speed, it's extra damage permanently. Berserk is more, but I feel it's better to reliably have massive rage just the whole time. So then we go up here through the life nodes, and I take Iron Will because this is actually a damage boost. because we're using Battle Mage's Cry, and this is what a lot of people also do with that, what is that helmet? It's called the Eye of something, Crown of Eyes. The same effect, 150% of your spell damage goes to attack damage. It counts it as that. So you're basically taking your spell damage increases and make it part of your attack damage increases. So there is a bit of a, I'm not really going to scale spell damage, but it is a little bit of a damage boost. Then after that, we also take these bottom nodes then, which is Wrecking Ball, which is quite a lot of damage, and with the Mastery, which is 3% chance to deal triple damage. Now that one, at that stage, you want to change your Belt of the Deceiver to a magnet. Now a magnet is also not a very expensive item, and you can already just see at that number there, at this stage we are now, it's already 454,000 DPS. Now that's why this 3% matters a lot, because it stacks with that 5% triple damage. So we've got 8% chance to get triple damage. Check that, almost the same as a 10% to deal double damage. So 18% of the time we're going to either do double or triple damage. That's 1 in every 5 hits. So this is quite massive. So the 3% here makes a massive comfortability to the magnet. And I must tell you, even in the endgame build, you can see I tested Arn's Anguish, and I actually like stacked endurance charge at 7, 8. I think even somewhere at only 8, or around there, it started getting the same as magnet. You can see there. Okay, at this stage it's going to make a difference, but it doesn't actually. And even with the same, with its 4 endurance charges, it's only a 30k difference. But on this one I get 23% all resistance. So I just felt the damage, you probably need to stack 10 plus endurance charges to make this pure damage feel better, but then you lose the mitigation also it gives you. I just think that the ease of access of this belt, what it gives you, the damage, the all resistances, it gives you strength, and then because it has a kind of a shitty, what do you call it, implicit, it's quite a good target to go double corrupt as well, because we're not really stacking stun duration, so you can hit maybe 5 or 8% life or whatever on that as well. So that's something I'll look at. And then after Merc Lab, we go to Uber Lab, and that's when I'll take the totem nodes here. So this is basically to then start buffing our single target damage via our totems. Also survivability here with the max resistances to help with the elemental, and then corrupted blood. Normally take that first until you get a nice jewel with it on, and then you can swap this over for something else. Yeah, it's got 1% increased attack damage. I would actually, sorry, that should rather be, oh no, that is right, yeah, 1% decrease. I was thinking about the exposure. It's fine. That's actually, yeah, 118,000 damage. That's actually quite a lot. So, and then I'm going to start moving up here because I want these nodes. At the end of the day, they do a couple of things for me, because this build is going to use a lot of uniques. Like I put more here than I might have. I'm going to craft some stuff, but it's just all resistance, and it gives me damage at the same time because I'm an elemental build. So I'm going to work towards these 3 nodes. You can see it's like 230 DPS at this stage, but it gives me all resistance. It gives me more times to shock, so I actually can shock, and later we're going to use Yoke of Suffering, so it will be good. And then also because this one will give me reduced affected elemental damage taken. And for my option, I'm going to go for Yugal, to then be Reflect Immune, because I don't like looking at every single stat when I roll a map. This also gives me 30% reduced effect of curses, and what I'll do is I'll either use this one, which has got a mastery of 20% reduced, or I'll just roll another 40 to 50% on a flask, and basically I'm going to mitigate 80-90% of curses, so it's basically not going to be an issue. I'm kind of curse immune. And then Arakali I take to help with the damage over time and the chaos damage, because chaos resistance, as you can see at 15, will be kind of the thing we need to try to issue or to solve. Then this okay, at the top here we respec these points too, to free up some points, get those 2 back. And I think I just took an extra life node there as well. And you take the 10% mastery and you take the 50 life. 50 life here flat is worth more than the 6%. So only when you get to, yeah, let's work it out, it's around 6,000 HP, then it's better to take the percentage than the flat life. You'll see I've got Avatar Fire here. Now the one thing though is, as soon as you get Nganamu's Flame, which is the axe you want as quick as possible, so we will go for the Carnage Heart and the Belt of the Deceiver. The next belt is the Magnet, the Dudray Ring, And then we go for this axe. So shop this axe. Just shop it. Remember, you can have your 4, your 5 link in your chest. Normally this is a 1 to 3C unique on opening day. But this is going to do is immediately give us damage. That we're not really going to scale the molten burst, but it gives us physical damage converted to fire. So we're going to save 1 point. We could take away then avatar of fire, which I do in the next tree. It gives us pen. So although it's only 418 DPS, it is actually like about 500, because 20 pen is quite a lot. So basically 1C, you got a 500 DPS axe. It helps you convert fire and save a point. It's just so comfortable. And although we're not scaling the molten burst, you can see, did I have it in here or not? Skills, let's put it in there. So even at this stage, molten burst is hitting for 180,000 on average, the 3 bowls together now, and they can sometimes shotgun. So it's another 100k. It kind of kills a little trash. And the thing about Sunder is, and I checked it on the video, is it has a chance to proc from every shockwave. So when you're mapping later, I'll put my 6 things in there, then 1 or 2 of the supports maybe help it, and you maybe have 200 to 250k on it. It actually pops off from more than one area. Every shockwave has a chance to get it, so it does help kill Strangler still. So pretty comfortable. So that will be the one that you go for at that side. And then also the worm sign, like I said, anywhere from level 49, if you can pick it up or you can find it or swap with a mate or something. Gives you rampage, endurance charges. You can use endurance cry as well if you want. I'm just too lazy to do it. It gives you life, and it gives you the 5 link for your war chief totem. So this is for me best in slot in this build. All you're going to do is try to get good corruptions on this later, because it gives a 5 link for your war chiefs. And if you're fighting a boss and you need to dodge in that, then your 2 war chief totems can keep on doing damage, and they can still cull and that kind of thing. So yeah, that is definitely what they will do. And if you want to ask about that little passive of the war chiefs lingering, I don't think I'm even gonna take it. It's nah, I don't think so. And I don't think it's worth it for the 3 seconds. It's fine. And then after Uber Lab, we will be at the league start, so that's what we'll aim for. Then we'll take these armor nodes here with another plus 1 on that side, and we will take these elemental nodes and the reflect immune. And I think there was nothing at this side, so now we're basically level 90. And you should at this stage then have your Nganamu's flame. Brian Crown is quite a nice one. If you do get a Brian Crown, then what you can do is you can not use Arctic armor and pop Defiance banner in there for a little bit more scaling of your armor and also some crit reduction. Then the other very nice item we go for in this build is the Cloak of Flame. At this stage it would be better obviously to 6 link your Nganamu axe. And a tip on this and why I have the uniques in here is that they changed Scourge. So they changed the fusings, that it's going to be much easier, and their words were much closer to like how Scourge were. So meaning you should 6 link within maybe not 5 like it was, but 10 to 15. Okay, so it's going to be much easier to 6 links uniques. So in the Cloak of Flame I would probably then put my Battle Mage setup, which is a 4 or 5 link, and then Blood and Sand, or your Vol Molten Shell, and then have your 6 link in your Nganamu's Flame, and then 1 or 2 of those gems will actually buff your Molten Burst as well. Now this gives you 40% of physical damage taken as fire, and this is a big defensive node together with Tassilio's Cleansing Water, which converts another 20 of physical damage taken. So when I do my labs, we go normal lag, and then we go cruel lab, and then Merc lab. We take Tassilio's Cleansing Water for the defense, because I like to do that first. And then when I get to Uber and I'm comfortable, I will take our Williams Moon's Presence, which just gives you, it's not just the 16% increase that the enemy take, which is nice. There's a big area of effect which helps you clear. So if you every now and then just put the totem down, then you'll have the extra 25%, but it makes enemies near the totem deal less damage. So now really at this end game, you chalk off another 8%. And then your totems are immune to fire, which is also nice. And we're also obviously unaffected by Ignite. And at this point, this is how it should look. And you'll be around, it won't be 4.4, this is with all buffs. So it'll be somewhere between 2.5 and 3 million, you know, damage you should be setting out at about this level 90 level. Then what I would target for is, you don't necessarily have to be level 95, but I'll try to get the Thread of Hope as quick as possible. And what you want is, you want a very large ring. So we want these 2 nodes here, which is 8% chance to gain endurance charge and kill, and increased damage per endurance charge, and then 8% increased frenzy charge, the same thing. So while we're mapping we can get them, but The tech here is then to change and try to get the Ralakesh Impatient Boots. Now, they are another big damage dealer for the build, but not just that. What they do is, the new version says is when you are standing still, and because we are a melee build and we're hitting, we are always standing still when we're hitting. So that means we get full endurance, power and frenzy charges while we're stationary, and then we lose them all while we move. So this is going to do two things. Number one is big free frenzy charges, endurance charges, and as you can see, as we'll take another one here. So immediately, as soon as we just stop to hit, we have 4 frenzies, we have 4 endurance charges because of, oh no, we got 3, but it's fine, and 3 power charges. This will buff our damage every time we're hitting. And what it will also do is it will automatically proc our worm sign, because worm signs say gain rampage while at maximum endurance charges. So when we're full of endurance charges, standing still, hitting, killing a mob, we get rampage, and then we go on. We can lose, it doesn't matter, but we'll always have a minimum of 1/1 anyway, which is comfortable. We also save these 2 points here, and these boots are a lot of damage. Then it's a lot of damage. We are now there. It's a lot of damage to have that up the whole time permanently. I think I did mark them there. Yeah. So I'll try to get this quickly. You also then save these 3 points, and you just take the leech point there. And that's about it. The rest stays the same. I think the next 3 I put in here: fire mastery, and then the fire exposure at the bottom there. And then you will transition to the end game gear setup. So what you want to do here is, if you can get a brass dome, which you should, the uniques, buy one that's not socketed, try to link it yourself, it's the best. Like I said, you're going to roll 6 sockets on it. You're going to get a 4 and a 2 link, then you're going to corrupt it with a Vol Orb, and then you're going to just use your Scourge currency on it to link it. And this can roll from, I think, 2 to 5 or 1 to 5, so try to get the max 5% if you can. It is normally more expensive. We have the Ralakesh boots, and then instead of the Carnage Heart, you go for the Yoke of Suffering. So what this will do is our fire damage will also be able to shock. So I put this in the calculation here, and I just put 15%. We're going to shock for more than that, because our full massive Sunder hit of whatever 4 million damage you can see here is going to be able to shock. So we're going to get close to 50% shocks on bosses. Rage totem, okay, the charges is up. Fire exposures on, yeah, and we're standing still. On ring number 1, the change I'll make there is, at the start we had this one, you will just use any ring with accuracy and resistance and so on. I just use barracks as an example, but we want to go for Polaric Devastation. So the reason we do that is so that this ring, not just does it give us cold resistance and so on, which we need, and it gives us crit chances, because we're going to go away from Nganamu's flame, and we're going to get a Flesh Ripper to then go more into crit and scale our damage stats that way as well. And this was just a rare sample in here with 600 DPS. I mean, we can make 800-900 DPS weapons, so the DPS can still get like 40% more than what it is now with a really OP axe. But this is just a kind of get to 600% DPS axe with crit on. What will happen in the tree is, let's see, Thread of Hope. That one, you should just have Avatar of Fire at that stage when you have that axe. Just put that there now. You can see that's actually more. I forgot because it didn't convert the fire. But I had it in the final setup, not in this one where I just saved when you get the Thread of Hope. But yeah, the Polaric Devastation. The main thing about that is we will then spec out of the cover in Ash Hinekora here, and we can take Tukohama's Warrior, because that ring now gives us recovered in Ash when we ignite enemies, and because we're just doing fire damage, and we got 40% chance to crit, and we got like 25% chance to ignite because of the curse. Yeah, we ignite very reliably, very easily, so we'll get the enemies covered in Ash. We'll get all that damage bonus for free then. The rest on here, the 10% increased strength, we're not a strength stacker, so it doesn't really matter, and we got leech anyway. This is huge. You look at that, 1.7 million DPS if we have the totems up. So this is huge against bosses, the increase effect. This coupled with, of course, Panopticon is going to give us huge single target damage, which we normally wouldn't have. You must just remember, take Avatar of Fire again in the final setup. And this is probably the tree that you will close for aim for. Now if you do want to push to like the level 100 tree, I just basically ran through here and took an Unnatural Instinct. They are normally a bit expensive, but you can do it at dash time, and in this specific position it gives us insane amount of quality of life. We get extra curse effect, which is just plain straight damage. We get physical damage here at the bottom, which would scale, but the other nice thing is we get about 36% area of effect for our Sunder. We get more regen. It's just, this is a super place for this, very comfortable, and you can play around with where you want life. I took some extra life here actually. I took away that damage. Now there's some I took away, these two that I also sometimes use, just to beef up the life a little bit there. But you can see with the item setup here, the brass dome. What I also did, sorry, just to mention, because it's something I forgot earlier, with the helmets you can go back to using the Arctic armor. If you can get a devouring diadem, you must just get the coloring right, because then you get all the reservation efficiency from there. Before that, if you want to run the Arctic armor, you need to run these 3 or 4 nodes to your comfortability, just so that you have enough mana to do it. So just drop a life wheel or 2, or drop maybe the reflect if you're not doing the map, or you can drop the exposure here if you want. This is damage, but it's not the end of the world, you know. Just to free up 3 or 4 points to have this reservation, and then you can run any of the other options. A Brian Crown you don't need to, but Crown of Eyes or Crown of the Inward Eye is actually a lot of damage, because we scale so much attack and spell damage. I say it's spell damage, but it's because of this node, Iron Will. You can see actually even in the current build, if I take a Crown of the Inward Eye, it's almost 500,000 DPS extra. Like, I should really actually take it, but I just like the comfortability of this. And we have, you can see there, we have way enough damage. It's over 10 million at the moment. Yeah, so that's the thing Polaric will give us. And then the magnet, there's nothing really better. I mean, maybe a Mage Blood or a Headhunter, but yeah, the damage it gives us, you can see there, 1.8 million is what this belt is giving us. So this would be how the end setup will look like. Theoretically, this 11 million DPS while mapping, this is when everything is up, when we've got the enemy shocked and that. So it will obviously vary sometimes, and also when Ngamamu's Flame Advance is active. So when it's not active it's 6, but it's active half the time, so you have to go kind of in the middle. So it's about 8 million DPS, and with bosses reduced effect you're probably sitting at about 5 million when you do big bosses, 4 or 5 million, which I think is pretty good for melee build. But the main purpose of that is to be, you know, reflect immune and to have good clear. It's a fast build. Damage uptime is very good, and with the totems out, we can kill map bosses, and all the normal bosses will be pretty easy. Just to quickly go over the flasks, I'm using a Divine Life Flask, Corrupted Blood, and bleed immunity. You just basically put the bleed immunity on your life flask from the start, and try to get a Lion's Roar. You can early on use a Wise Oak. That will be extra damage. You can still use it now, it will also be extra damage, but I like the Diamond Flask because we're going in crit and get the crit nice up. You can obviously put the Wise Oak in place of the Amethyst Flask, but I like put my poison resist on there and have some more poison resistance, because you see it's 42 with the flask, without it's 7. So yeah, probably need to maybe get Chaos Resist somewhere else. And in some of these instances I might like not use a brass dome and just craft, you know, proper rare chest. And the same with the boots. If I don't get this or it's way too expensive, just go for a really rare pair, you know, 30% movement speed plus resist and life you need. Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of damage, maybe a million damage not having that, but you know, it's not going to kill you. We got enough damage to play with to make that comfortable. And then Quicksilver Flask, you can put a Void Shock on there if you want, because we're not really shock immune. It's up to you, or if you don't care about shock, a soft core, we got a lot of portals. But yeah, I think this is very realistic here, and like I said, you can just use a Cloak of Flame. We got 51,000 life pool here, we got 63 phys max heat, 50 fire, 35, so we are pretty tanky. We got 83 phys damage reduction, so this should be able to stand up to most things in this game without too much of a worry. We got enough damage, we got very good clear. I took this build and I leveled it from Act 1 to Act 5 in a practice run as well, which went very smooth, easy, no problems. I then went onto my standard account and I had an old level 90 Marauder Chieftain that I respec'd into exactly this 93 without the thread of hope, and I did tier 14, 15, 16 mapped. You see the footage I put in there. I did from tier 10 to tier 16. I tested out the maps, was easy. And yeah, I've got a little video here of a T14 map clear that I did with the boss SQ at the bottom. So I hope you enjoy it. Can have a look at how that clear feels and how it will feel when you progress through to that T14 level. And I'm very confident I'm gonna have a good time. Yeah, I don't always play the meta, but this is what I like. I like to play different build every single time. I cannot play the same build 3 times in a row. I tested it, I did the test and that, and I'm comfortable with the build and how it will perform. I haven't failed yet, so I don't think it will start now. I've leveled it already to Act 5. I've played about 10-12 maps with that level 90 to test it out. It felt brilliant, and most of that was on a 5 link, to also say, not even a 6 link. The 6 link I only got here to do the last map with. So yeah, I'm happy. If you like the video, maybe give me a like. It does take a little bit of time to do it, although this is just really a fun hobby and I want to do it for my friends and everyone I play with and really enjoy the game with. But yeah, hope you enjoy it, and thank you. Okay, so let's pop in. This is a yellow T14 map, so let's take T14. All can go kind of thing, and let's put the essence on it and see the essences, because they can be tanky sometimes. So you can just get an idea of when you're at this stage, around about level 90, what your damage and clearing can look like. This was the Chieftain I said that I respect. It was like a strength stacker before that, but I took out the jewel. So you can see here at the back, this isn't in. I skipped this, and this is the level 93, pretty close to it. I don't have a thread of hope that's in here, so that's just out. And I just took these 3 fire, lava lash, damage nodes along, but the rest of the tree is identical. And I don't have any of the other uniques. This was just a 6 link with a greed essence, basically life and resistances. There's the Dudray ring, and then the carnage, Nganamu's flame. It's not even linked all, but yeah, the leap slam is in here, and blood and sand and molten shell. Then I don't have a devouring diadem, so I also had to take these 3 reservation nodes. This helmet doesn't do really anything because I don't even use a fire skill technically, so I don't get there without frozen, but I do have the arctic armor that helps. So, and it's just belt resistance, strength, the worm sign, staunching flask, mana with nothing on, extra granite flask. So the flask has got quality on, but like the amethyst, it's basically just for the bit of chaos rest. I didn't really decide very well here what flask to use. So let's have a look. You can see the clear jumps quite nicely through this map. At the moment I don't have a way to get my endurance charges, so I'm not going to get the rampage. I'll sort that out later when I've got the right boots on, because the boots I have here is the legacy boots, so they're not giving me that endurance charges immediately. And you can see it's T14. I mean, you're basically one-tapping everything, and my gems isn't leveled up. They're all around level 15 to 18 around about there. The clear is insane. I get very good coverage. Pop it, it's actually a double essence. I wanted to taste the essences out. Thank you, all these boys. Now you get the war chief up and you're fine. DPS it down. Let's pick him up. I don't know what that is, but are they? They're not in this hall. Oh, here he is. Okay, Val Ancestral War Chief. And then I take the, just put in blood stand. So there, that's it. A little bit longer. There's 2 of them obviously on this map, but I think that's pretty good for get to 90, and you've got like a level 16 Sunder. No funny jewels, nothing. Pretty good deeps and excellent clear.